Hi guys, this is Samantha Dawn from Samantha Dawn Photography. Thank you for joining us. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about aperture, shutter speed and ISO. As you can see, we've got the lovely land of our big TV here to demonstrate. So basically what aperture is it is how big or small the opening in your camera is, the iris basically. You can open it and close it down, and that's what aperture is. Now, if you think about it like in terms of your own eye, when you want to see further away, you squint your eyes, it lets in less light, but it means you can see further away, and what's further away in the distance becomes more clear. But if you want to see, if your eyes are open, it lets in more light, the things near you are nice and clear, but what's in the distance might be slightly blurred. Now we use this in photography to adjust the depth of field, and also to determine what the photograph is, or the person viewing the photograph, sorry, is going to be focusing on. Now aperture is measured in what's called f-stops. The lower the number, the more the background, like this picture here, is going to be out of focus, well, blurred, not out of focus, and what's in the foreground here is going to be nice and clear. That is with a low number. With a higher number, the background and the subject is going to be nice and clear. So depending what you want to do, depends on what your aperture is going to be set at. And we'll talk a little bit about that more in a second, but let's move on to shutter speed. Shutter speed is simple. It is basically the amount of time that the shutter stays open for. That's it. The most simple concept ever created by man was shutter speed. Like seriously, it's simple. So when you press the button to take your picture, the shutter opens and closes to allow the light into the sensor at the back of the camera and to take the picture. That's all shutter speed is. Shutter speed is measured in a fraction of a second. With the lower shutter speed, you will need something like a tripod, like I've got set up here, so that to eliminate camera shake, or yes, to eliminate camera shake, or you will need a higher shutter speed. The higher the shutter speed, the less camera shake you're going to get. And also, the higher the shutter speed, if you're like taking action shots, for example, and you have somebody running, well, as somebody's running, their hands and their legs, or whatever's moving, is going to become blurred, right? Well, with a higher shutter speed, you can actually freeze motion. So it looks like the person is just standing there. But what photographers nowadays do, they leave a little bit of motion blur in, just to show that there is motion and it's not just somebody standing posing. So, useful thing to know about shutter speed. The next is ISO, which, very simple. Just like I used the analogy with the eyes for the aperture, your eyes actually have a sensor in them to detect light. The ISO is the same, basically the same thing. It is the sensitivity of the sensor to light in your camera. So the higher the ISO number, the more sensitive it becomes to light, making your pictures lovely and bright, obviously. But also with higher numbers, you get what's called noise, more noise, which is basically, I guess in the sense that this could be considered noise. It's basically pixelating, or like the picture starting to break up. That's what noise is. So you have to, it's kind of trial and error. You have to make sure that you set it to the correct ISO, otherwise you're going to get too much noise in your picture. A general rule of thumb that I use is, if I'm usually an ISO of about 200 is fine, but if I'm in like really dark, I'm sorry, it's mosquito season and I get eaten like I don't know what, mosquitoes just love me. So if you're wondering why I'm scratching, it's mosquito bites. So, what was I saying? Oh yes, if I'm in a darker situation, like say here, I'm sure I'm pretty much in shadow, but there's not much I can do about that. I mean, I could poke out some more lights and put more lights out, but this is just supposed to be a quick video, so that's not going to work right now. But, yes, so, what was I saying? Totally 100% gone. Like, seriously. I don't even know why I bother sometimes. Yes, if I'm in darker situations, I would probably set the ISO to run about 1600. For everyday use or whatever, about 200, 400 maybe. You know, just play around with it and you'll find the settings that work best for you. Now, each of these things in their own right is a good tool to use. Like understanding aperture, ISO and shutter speed by themselves is fantastic. But when you put them all together, that's when the magic happens. Because you get perfectly exposed pictures and they're nice and clear and sharp, and you might want the little background blur, and it's a perfect shot. It's a very easy way to get perfect pictures every single time by just using these 3 simple rules. Also, light helps, but these are the 3 that I found the most useful: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. If you can understand these 3 things, then you're on good track. So let's take a look at a few of these pictures that I took earlier on. I set the tripod outside, and like Dad helped with setting things up. So thank you very much, Dad. He also allowed me to use his equipment. So I'm very lucky, I'm very spoiled. But anyways, we have a picture here, and it's of Scotty the bear. Scotty the bear I got when I first came here to Canada. I have an obsession with teddy bears and dolls and stuff like that, so I actually collect them. I used to have a huge collection back home in Ireland, but I had to leave them all behind. So I only have like 1 Irish ragdoll, which is around here somewhere, and a teddy bear that I gave to the dog that's now sitting outside trashed. So that's what you get. But anyways, this is Scotty the bear. You can see he's set up on a nice stool, and this one in particular is the aperture. I set it to 1.8, which is around, it's really low. I've got the settings written. Hold on, let me grab the settings. Yes, here we go. Forget my head one of these days. So this one's set at 1.8, which is really low setting. And as you can see, the background is nicely blurred, but the foreground is nice and clear. This is used a lot in portrait photography. So let's say I had my stepmother sitting there on that stool, and she would be nice and in focus, and the eye would be naturally drawn to her, and the background would be nice and blurred. Nice effect. But as we go along here, you can see that more and more detail comes into the background as the f-stop or the aperture gets set higher. So for example, this one here is 2.8. This is 4, 5.6, 8, 11, and at 16, which is the highest this particular lens go, you can see basically the whole entire background. It's nice and clear, and you can see nice detail. The only sad part about this is because it's outside, often there's a little bit of wind, so you do get a little bit of movement here, which is what the blurriness you see. That's not actually supposed to be there. If it was a still background, it probably wouldn't be there. It would be nice and clear. But one of the things I don't like about working outside is movement and wind and... Okay, so basically by applying those 3 things, I was able to come up with all these different shots with a different effect. This one in particular would be used, let's say you have a nice set of rings and you want to display them in a catalogue, and you're taking a photograph of them to put in your catalogue. You would probably use a higher f-stop or aperture so that everything would be nice and clear and crisp, and it would look like a pretty picture. If you were doing a portrait, for example, like I said with the example with my stepmother, you would use a lower f-stop or aperture so that you would get the nice detail, well, blurred out detail I should say, in the background. So, one final thing I have to say about these pictures, I played only with the aperture and the shutter speed. I locked down, which basically means I set the ISO to a particular number and I did not mess with it at all. I just messed with the shutter speed and the aperture. And the reason why I did that is because I don't have an ISO button on my camera. It's easier for me to adjust the shutter speed and Aperture than it is for me to go into the menu, go down here, select all these different things and keep changing the ISO. It's too involved for what I wanted it to do. So I just adjusted the shutter speed and the aperture, and that's how you got these nice pictures. Now you could lock any single one of those down, right? And you can come out with the same results, basically. So yeah, I think that's about it. I hope this video has helped you understand a little bit more about aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. It can be a little bit more complicated when you're reading things and trying to get understanding out of it and read, and yeah, it doesn't always work. I suggest go outside or wherever you can and try these things out for yourself, and things will make a lot more sense, like seriously. And soon, oh my god, I've got a tickly throat. And soon you'll be able to set these settings without even thinking. It'll come automatic to you. Me, I haven't got that far yet, but hopefully. Just let me grab my coffee 1 second. So yes, that is essentially that. If you have any suggestions, if you have any suggestions or comments, or you would like me to do a particular tutorial video for you, oh my god, so good, then please don't hesitate to ask. I do not bite. I'm a pretty friendly, easygoing person. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. I'll answer them as best as I can. Please check out the website. You'll find lots more articles and lots more information there, and lots more videos. The website is samanthadawnphotography.info/WP/. Pretty simple to remember. I'll put the link down below in the description. Also, if you have any comments or whatever, you can comment here, or you can do a response video, a YouTube response video. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. I would also love to see some other people's works. Or maybe you've tried this out yourself and you have something to add to it. That would be cool too. So let me know. I shall see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and have a good one. Bye guys.